the survivors in Greensboro, Georgia Tech and Duke. Yesterday, Duke, with 31 wins, 2 losses, rallied behind senior David Henderson late in the second half to overtake Virginia. All-time Duke scorer Johnny Dawkins polished off a 75-70 win. Mike Krzyzewski's Devils have won 15 in a row, longest in the nation. Duke, ranked #1 in the nation, will meet 6th-rated Georgia Tech today. Tech, a team that authored a dramatic victory yesterday, final seconds against Maryland. The Terrapins had a chance to win it, but Tech sophomore Dwayne Farrell, with a midcourt steal, slammed the door on the upset hopes of Maryland, 64-62, to the delight of Tech coach Bobby Cremins and dismay of the Terps' Lefty Drizel. That sets up today's meeting of 2 of this year's basketball elite, Georgia Tech and Duke, in the championship final of the nation's toughest conference. Also at halftime, the announcement of the John Wooden Award, celebrating college basketball's Player of the Year. NBC Sports, proud to be college basketball's first network, presents the Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament Championship game. Today from Greensboro, the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets meet the Blue Devils of Duke. Brought to you by Michelob Light, super premium taste in a less filling beer. Who says you can't have it all? By the American Express card, don't leave home without it. By Castrol, the motor oil engineered for smaller cars. And by the U.S. Army, a place to be all you can be. This is Dick Enberg with Al McGuire in Greensboro, North Carolina, for the finals of the ACC tournament. Georgia Tech meets #1, Duke. Fans, to see this, the championship final game of the postseason tournament, the strength of this conference, illustrated in this week's coaches poll. Duke #1, their 31-2 record, matched only by Bradley in the nation. Kansas, then North Carolina from the AC, Kentucky, St. John's, and Georgia Tech rated 6th. The two teams divided their games during the course of the regular year, each winning at home. Hello, everyone. Dick Enberg with Al McGuire. It's going to be a game for guards. Let's introduce the stars in the backcourt today. For Georgia Tech, an All-American, they retired his number. Mark Price teamed with Bruce Dalrymple, a great defensive player. Tommy Amaker, good defense, will be on Price. And Duke's All-American Dawkins, he'll have to try to get rid of Bruce Dalrymple.
Well, Dick, Amaker will play Price so close, he'll be in back of him. The thing for you all to watch out there is the number of fouls that Amaker picks up early. But the other matchup is unique. I think that Dalrymple will go down on the blocks and take Dawkins inside, which will take a lot of the cheap baskets that Dawkins picks up on fast breaks.
All right, away from the guard play, your coach's eye. What can we look for?
What you're going to look for in this game, and watch it, the Duke will use multiple players. The Yellow Jackets cannot handle a physical game. Their bench is too short.
All right, on the eve of the announcement, or on the eve of the NCAA tournament for that matter, Duke #1 trying to protect its top rating against Georgia Tech, a team that was rated #1 in the nation at the start of the year. The starting lineups in just a moment. In the nation, Tommy Amaker, the junior guard, great defensive player and playmaker. He teams with the All-American Johnny Dawkins, leading scorer 4 straight years at Duke. At center, big bulk and a good rebounder. He's played well late, Jay Billups. In the front court, David Henderson, one of the stars yesterday in the win for the Devils, and he teams with Mark Allery, the #2 scorer. He scored over 2,000 in his career, joining Dawkins in that elite category. For the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech, Bruce Dalrymple, built like a linebacker, tough defensively. He is a partner in the backcourt, Mark Price, the leading scorer again for the Jackets. At center, preseason All-America pick, John Sally, a 7-footer, #2 scorer this year. Dwayne Farrell, a sophomore, the star in the late seconds yesterday, and he is paired with Tom Hammonds, regarded as a cinch to be the ACC Freshman of the Year. We're ready to go. Tech in that yellow uniform and Duke in white. Hammonds, the freshman, with the opening tip. Price with Amaker, Sally and Billis, Farrell and Henderson. Hammonds draws Allery. Good defense, and it forces the turnover. Allery's pressure on the ball, and Amaker on Price. And Duke has the first mistake in its favor.
Duke will probably pick up 17 more turnovers. Look for them to have 18 turnovers in this game.
One of the best in the nation in that regard, a testimony to the tough defense they play. Dawkins hits his first. Great player, Johnny Dawkins, and one of the leading candidates for the John Wooden Award. We'll be announcing that at halftime. Coach Wooden is with us.
Price was on Dawkins that time. I don't think that's a good matchup.
Price dishing off to Hammonds.
There's that posting up I was talking about with Dalrymple underneath.
Dwayne Farrell hits, and it's 2-all.
Price is going to end up getting in foul trouble if he stays on Dawkins all morning or afternoon.
Foul is on Mark Price, and it is a shooting foul. These two teams met twice during the course of the ACC season. Down in Atlanta, Georgia Tech prevailed 87-80, and in Durham, it was Duke 75-59 in the game you saw here on NBC. David Henderson at the line, this senior from Little Drury, North Carolina. So small, it's not even on the map that you would buy if you were going to traverse this beautiful state. Drury isn't on there, about 50 population. What a story he is. He's become a major star at Duke. 4-2, the Devils lead it.
Slight pressure up court, nothing to write home about. Trap will come now.
Dalrymple maintaining the dribble, then losing the ball. Henderson to Dawkins. Mark Allery, his first shot is short. Billis goes to the deck, and traveling is the call. Oh, it's a rough call. It appeared he had lost the ball before he fell. Foul on the drive. Hammonds, only 18 years of age, and boy, he is a true man-child, the freshman for Georgia Tech.
He's a freshman of influence.
We'll be announcing our NBC all-freshman team, a tradition with us for the last 10 years. During the course of the game, our final telecast of the season.
Dalrymple's trying to post up on Dawkins.
Price from long range, rebound Henderson. 4-2, Duke leads it, 2 minutes gone. Nice steal by Hammonds. Or check that, Farrell with a steal. And the turnover.
If Duke could take their time, they got the right idea, and let Dalrymple post up down low with Dawkins, it create a tremendous problem for the Blue Devils.
See Farrell's quickness to front Allery and make that intercept. Allery inside, blocked by Sally, and a foul on John Sally.
Sally had him in Tap City, but he lowered his arm, which created the foul. You don't have to slap the ball. Now watch him lower his arm here. See him lowering his arm, that created the foul.
And it sends Mark Allery to the line. Allery now the number 4 scorer in Duke history. Has his first point today to make it 5-2. He's averaging 17.5 on the season, 80% from the line.
We're watching two of the best teams in the country, without a doubt. Both potential Final Four teams.
Well, this conference might well get 6 nominations to the NCAA tournament. Many figure that would be a fair call.
There it is.
Dalrymple inside, can't hit. Billis rebound. You're right, Coach. They're taking Dalrymple down low.
Well, if they just be a little bit more patient, they could.
That's going to be a turnover, and once again, they're fronting Allery, and that's forced back-to-back mistakes.
Let's watch it this time. Let's watch what Dalrymple does down low. We can catch it with Dawkins. There goes Dalrymple going across the foul line now. Slipping down low by the block. See him get, he's posting up inside. Move back in there, Dalrymple.
Georgia Tech with only 2 points in 3 minutes. There's a bucket by Tom Hammonds to make it 6-4. First points for the freshman Hammonds. 4 starting seniors for this Duke team. Steal by Dalrymple. Dawkins makes the defensive play for Duke. Price, foul on Price for charging.
Great move by Hennessy that time, but give the super All-American. Smooth as silk. Dawkins on this steal. Unbelievable. Now watch Henderson move in and take a charge on Mark Price. Here comes Price. Could not change direction. Couldn't stop on a dime.
Second foul on Price, the playmaker and leading scorer for Tech.
Better take him off Dawkins.
Dawkins throws it away. Now both teams guilty of mistakes here early. 4 minutes gone. Duke leading by 2.
Let's just once set this thing up right.
Burrell can't handle the pass, and it's Henderson for Duke.
Get the ball to Amica's hands.
Johnny Dawkins not there. Tipped by Allery. Sally, the Dalrymple. Price on Amaker. Dalrymple missed the tip, but regains the ball for Georgia Tech. And it's Amaker the other way.
2 points for Dawkins. You can see him breaking down the left that time.
4 points for Dawkins.
2 best guards in the country as a team.
Amaker and Dawkins. Amaker forced the turnover and then set up his teammate. Inside to Hammonds. It's 8-6 Duke. Hammonds with 4.
Give credit to a pro pass from Mark Price that time.
Price, who has set all the season and career assist records in Georgia Tech history.
Both teams are still man-to-man.
Henderson. Sally with a loose ball to Price. Amaker to beat.
He's going all the way.
And a foul on Amaker. His first.
Price pretty much in the solo goes all the way. The inside hand, he pole vaults. The left arm, watch it. See, left arm down low, catching Price on the shoulder. We call that pole vault.
A son of a coach, his dad, Denny, a former pro coach in the NBA with Phoenix, and the head coach at Sam Houston State. Price from Enid, Oklahoma. That is news when he misses from the line. He's shooting 86% on the season. Chance to cut the Duke lead to 1. And with it, a timeout here in Greensboro. 14 minutes. $1,000 the purse out in beautiful Kauai. The women's Kemper to follow after Sports World here on NBC. The score, Duke 8, Georgia Tech 7. We played 5.5 minutes. Bobby Cremens, the 38-year-old headmaster of Georgia Tech, out of the Bronx, New York, a South Carolina star in 1970 when they were in the finals of this ACC tournament. 15-game winning streak for the Blue Devils. They started with 16 wins in a row, then they lost 2 in a row, North Carolina and Georgia Tech. Now they've won 15 straight. That's the longest existing win streak in college basketball.
If they lose today, I still think they'll stay #1 because they have 3 losses and Kansas had 3 losses, but they beat Kansas in the early NIT at Madison Square Garden. Got a zone now by the Yellow Jackets.
You can hear the official saying, easy does it, trying to control the checking underneath. Dawkins. And the foul on Billis for pushing off. First on Billis, the center for the Blue Devils, and Georgia Tech with a chance to take the lead for the first time.
3 outstanding officials, Dick. Matter of fact, there are 3 lead officials. Nichols, Worth, and Forte.
Price dishing off to Sally. Underneath to Hammonds. Tom Hammonds gives Tech the lead 9-8. Still in the zone. Dawkins from outside. Not there. Price with a rebound. Burrell. 11-8, Georgia Tech. Burrell was 6.
Burrell, as I said earlier in the season, Coach Bobby Crimmins thinks he's the best athlete and the best ball player on the team.
Well, they're like bookends, aren't they? Burrell and Hammonds. Henderson can't hit. Dawkins inside with a rebound. Throws up a prayer that is answered by Allery. 11-10, Georgia Tech's lead. 7 minutes gone.
That's where Duke's going to get hurt in the putback. Duke is a little bit too physical for Georgia Tech.
Hammonds. Tom Hammonds makes it 13-10. He leads all scorers with 8.
Good move the zone by Bobby Crimmins. Physically save his ball club. Last time they played Duke, second half, Duke blew him out physically.
Amaker will try, and he's off the mark. Dawkins inside, and the foul on Dawkins.
Wow,
Second.
Did you see him go upstairs?
He is 6'2", but he plays like he's 6'6", with that leaping power.
What do you see off this rebound here? Now watch Duke Dawkins just go upstairs.
I mean, he's going over a 7-footer, Sally.
That's a nice shot right there.
Wait a minute here. Do we have a technical foul? A ripple in the audience, and I think they've hit Mike Krzyzewski with a technical foul. Well, you have 3 strong officials in this game, and one of them, Lenny Wirtz, has made the first heavy move. He's hit Coach K with a tee.
Extremely strong officials. The way they decided for the final game, each coach can hand in 6 officials to the commissioner, who's Mr. Bearcat. He takes the first one from each coach's list, then he puts in the third fella. These fellas for this game today get paid $400 each. That's $50 more than the finals of the NCAA in Dallas in late March.
14-10. Sally up and off. Out of bounds to Duke. I thought you were going to weave in a little commercial for your show on the Sunday between Saturday and Monday, the Al McGuire special, 1 hour. And I guess that's when you tell the nation who will win on Monday night. Is that right?
Automatic. Same time as the NCAA women's basketball is on that other station. Zone, still in the zone.
14-10. Billy King, number 55, in, and he hits a jump hook. King makes it 14-12.
The only problem with King shooting is from the foul line.
He's under 50% from the line. Danny Ferry, 35, also in for Duke. Sally, that would have counted had it gone.
Watch King's hook here now. Ferry kicks it down low to him. It's kind of a flat hook. It's a jump hook, which is most of the ball players today have put this into their repertoire or into their arsenal.
Remember the first one that you saw use that effectively? Really, it's a new device, really, in the last 10 years where it's been used so regularly. You can't really come up with some of it.
I can't think of who did.
John Sally has his first point of the game. None of your players, I guess, used it. 15-12 the score. Georgia Tech leads. Will Snyder, 14, also in. So Duke has used 3 fresh faces here in this sequence. Underneath to Allery. Great feed from Ferry.
Now listen up to this. What Duke is doing is using multiple players to wear down the Yellow Jackets for the second half.
Neal is in. Craig Neal with the ball. Noodles Neal from Washington, Indiana, number 10, giving Price a breather. First substitute for Georgia Tech. Way short is Burrell, but Hammonds there to knock home the rebound, and Tom Hammonds has 8. He is some freshman.
Went back to man-to-man, went to the zone to protect Mark Price. Mark Price is on the bench now, so they're playing man-to-man.
Inside Allery. Before the shot, the foul is on Hammonds. Let's go back to Tom Hammonds in action.
Maybe the greatest freshman in the country today. Quick off the ball, automatic dunk.
Tom Hammonds from Little Crestview, Florida. Small town in the panhandle of Florida. 8 big points early for Tech. Coverage here from Greensboro today will reflect on memories from a terrific season. And one of those had DePaul. Joey Meyer had a tough year with the Blue Demons. He's hoping now just to make the NIT. It's tough to follow a legend, and maybe even more difficult when he's your own father.
Well, Dick, everyone has to go through baptism, and it takes you a couple of years to get into groove and be your own man.
We're going to see a flashback of you, not from this year. Well, maybe from this year, maybe from last week, if time permits, during the course of our coverage today. It's 17-14 Georgia Tech. Antoine Ford is in for Tech, number 44, giving Sally a rest. Snyder and Amaker in the backcourt, Allery, Ferry, and King the front line. So 3 starters on the bench for Duke. Ferry. Tough shot. First points for Danny Ferry, the freshman.
I thought he played that shot off the backboard. He played all rim. Duke has stayed man-to-man all the way. Still a mismatch. Mismatch on Dalrymple again.
Snyder, the freshman from Seattle, knocks it away. And almost says it's Neal for Tech. Dalrymple. Rebound Ferry. 3 Tech players are down with Billy King. That gives the Blue Devils the numbers, and Amaker converts to give Duke the lead 18-17. Well, that was like a blocker taking out 3 defenders in football, and that left Duke with a 4-2 advantage. King with a rebound. 9 minutes, 15 seconds remaining in the first half. The Blue Devils, number 1 in the nation, lead by 1. Allery makes it a 3-point advantage.
Again, Allery receives the ball high in his chest, turns around, is ready to shoot.
Timeout, Bobby Crimmins and Georgia Tech with 9:02 left in the first half. Basketball experts have come to this conclusion. The top freshman in the nation this year, top 5, Hammonds of Georgia Tech, Roy Marble from Iowa, Ricky Callaway at Indiana, the center Purvis Ellison, Louisville, and Jerome Pooh Richardson, who migrated from Philadelphia to UCLA, the 1 guard picked to the top 5. Those regarded as the top 5 freshmen. Others are Ferry and Lebo here from the Atlantic Coast Conference. Tom Lewis, who had a fine first year at the University of Southern California.
One of the reasons that Lebo's not on it, Dick, is because he didn't start. And when Steve Hale went down, he started, but he just didn't have enough PT, playing time. Also, in my hour special on Easter Sunday, I'm doing something very exciting with freshmen.
I can't wait. 20-17, Duke leads it by 3. Just under 9 minutes left in the half.
Alley-oop!
Sally! Boy, that was made to order. Uncontested, 20-19. Sally has 3. Henderson trying to save, does. Good play. Right back to Henderson. No foul. And dual possession goes to Duke. That gives us a chance to appreciate a well-executed alley-oop.
Yeah, Henderson turned his head a little bit, which allowed Sally to come in from the right-hand side and about 14 inches above the rim.
Would you call that high percentage, Coach?
I think that he can hit about 99 and 9/10% ivory soap, pure.
99 and 44, 100%. Inside, Henderson bumped by Sally or Ford. We'll wait.
Sally bumped him with his hips.
Second.
Going to take Sally, maybe take Sally out for a while after that. They cannot get Sally in foul trouble. Obvious foul. Here comes Sally over. Gives him a bump.
It is Tech's 4th foul, 5 on Duke here in the first half. John Sally, he's a basketball aficionado. He can tell you who's playing where around the country. When he's not playing, he's watching the game. He loves basketball. A lot of players don't. I mean, a lot of players like to play it, but don't really care much about watching. He's just the opposite. He's like the rest of us. Henderson's 3rd point, all from the line.
He's a money player, Dick. Maybe the most aggressive player in the ACC, David.
He'll take the ball inside. 21-19. The NBA scouts like him because he's such a great athlete.
He'll have to adjust to the guard position. He's too small for the forward.
Georgia Tech with a chance to tie. Good ball movement. Good action away from the ball. Dalrymple. Not there. Ferry with his 3rd rebound. Henderson way off the mark. But Billis is there, and he's fouled, reaching in. Either Price or Dalrymple.
Dalrymple reached in that time, Dick. Created the foul. Dalrymple thought he had all leather.
Bruce Dalrymple, 6'4" and 209 pounds. He looks bigger than that.
Hey, guys. Well, he plays a real lunch pail type of game, keeps the ball alive, constantly drives towards the basket. He's an offensive rebounder.
Allery will trigger the inbounds pass as we approach the 1-and-1.
Duke is now in the bonus. Any fouls by Georgia Tech will be 1-and-1.
Foul against Dalrymple. His 2nd, so he picks up 2 in a hurry. And that will send Duke to the line. Danny Ferry. Just as J.R. Reed's announcement this past week that he is going to matriculate at North Carolina, that was big news. So it was the mystery surrounding Danny Ferry. He was late in making his selection last year, and it came down to, I believe, North Carolina and Duke were in the running, and he elected to go to Durham.
Well, it could be because Martin and Doherty are both graduating.
Ed Reed has picked the Tar Heels.
He had it down to final 5. One was Iowa, George Raveling. The other was UCLA, Virginia, and Duke.
Danny Ferry opens a 4-point lead for the Blue Devils. 7 minutes, 15 seconds remaining in the first half. Stay with us at halftime. Coach John Wooden, Wizard of Westwood, with us for the announcement. Mark Price, one of the candidates for the Wooden Award. He was in the final 10.
Georgia Tech got to go to his own. Dalrymple cannot cover Ferry. It's a mismatch again. Ferry's too big for Dalrymple.
Amaker, good move by Price, and banks it home. Tommy Amaker with 4.
Georgia Tech has a serious problem with their bench. They can't go by their 7th man. Ford is going to have to really arrive to go far in the NCAA.
Billis with a steal. And Dalrymple almost gets it back for Tech. Dawkins. Oh, my! The basket's good. The foul is against Georgia Tech.
Watch Dawkins this time drive the middle. I thought Noodles got pretty close to getting in there, but it's a judgment call. Here comes Noodles, has both feet planted.
Foul goes against Neal, his first, and that sends Johnny Dawkins to the line. You talk about a model of consistency in his career at Duke. This man has led his team in scoring all 4 years. Hammonds gathers the rebound, and he's going to pick up a foul. Dawkins went down when Hammonds turned, but I didn't feel that was a vicious elbow.
I think you're right, Dick. I don't think he moved his elbow that way. He didn't even see Dawkins, if you'll notice on this rebound. You call for it yourself. He doesn't see Dawkins on this side. Watch. Here's Dawkins open. He did. It was a good
but
call.
But he didn't throw the elbow.
No, he didn't throw the elbow.
Walking into the elbow.
But Nickel...
Yeah, they put a dent in his forehead, that's for sure. Now Duke, with a 6-point lead, gets the ball. Down to the 6-minute mark, opening half. Dawkins from long range. Sally can't handle the rebound, and it's out of bounds off Henderson.
Boy, Sally that time showed his jumping ability. He was up above the square in the backcourt for that rebound. Big basket right now for the Yellow Jackets. Sally likes to pace the basket at 7 feet.
Price is short. Hammond's back to Price.
Won't be short this time.
27-23, 7 for Price.
That's when you know you're a good shooter. If you miss a shot, you take the second one exactly the same way.
And can't wait.
1-3-1 zone.
Tommy Amaker. Perry gets an offensive rebound, stolen by Price. Dalrymple, foul on Henderson.
Wow, you're talking about college basketball at its best. The only thing the pros could match this with would be their playoff. This is outstanding.
Here's the Perry rebound. Price reaching in and snaring the ball.
Takes it all the way down, then kicks it over to Dalrymple.
Oh, he does hurry it into the offensive end. Dalrymple at the line, shooting 63%, looking for his first point today. He scored only 2 yesterday.
That man on the left, Scott, number 55, should not be seen here. Move up to his arms. He should not be able to move his arms when this fella's set. Watch him move his arms. He's ready to set. He's trying to catch peripheral vision. See?
Dalrymple dances in a pair, and it's 27-25.
Moves his fingers, tries to just get your concentration broke for a split second. Here comes a trap as soon as they go over half court, I believe.
Gallery to Dawkins. Inside, Gallery and a foul on Neal. It'll be his second. Duke still has committed only 6. Mark Gallery at the line looking for his 9th point of the game.
Mark is so versatile. I mean, he can just as well drain a 20-footer as a layup.
Kind of a low-key approach to the game, a la Mike Cheminsky, who preceded him as an All-American at Duke.
His stock in the pros have really gone up the last 2 months. He will be in the lottery. In my hour special on Easter Sunday, I will tell you who's going to be in the lottery. And on that panel will be Wayne Embry and Jerry West and so forth, telling you what are the 7 best players in the country in the eyes of the pros.
Henderson touched it last, 28-25 the score. I'll be anxious to watch that show just to see if you can pronounce Coach K's name correctly.
Coach Mike. They wanted a big name at Duke, and they got a big name.
Lots of consonants. Sally to Neal, he travels. 4.5 minutes remain. Bobby Cremens, you know something about Sally, and maybe a good statistic, maybe a bad one. Sally, a big man, has 107 assists this year. He's up there with the leaders on the Tech Club.
Well, he likes to face the basket, and he pictures himself as a forward, which his body calls to be a forward position. I'd get him out of there now, afraid he'd pick up his 3rd foul.
Gallery not there. Billis able to collect the ball. And King will slow it down. Henderson. It's a 5-point Duke lead. David Henderson with 5. Less than 4 minutes remain. Opening half here in Greensboro, North Carolina. The ACC Championship Final. Gallery with a near steal. Perry comes in with it, a timeout. 3 minutes, 46 seconds left before the intermission. 12 years ago that this man coached the Marquette team against North Carolina State in the finals. and he heard that technical foul call. How many? 2 in a row, I remember.
Well, that was the championship game. I had my bookmaker tie on.
Yeah, I think they called 1 technical on the tie and 2 on you.
You know, after the game, I walked into the locker room, and Maurice Lucas, who plays the L.A. Lakers now, he said, "Coach, you blew that one."
What'd you say?
I said, "It was only 40 million people watching."
That was the year that John Wooden's Bruins lost in the semifinals to North Carolina State. And incredibly, in 12 years in the tournament, Wooden's team lost only that 1 game in double overtime. They won 10 titles. The only time they lost in the tournament was that game to State in double overtime here in Greensboro. So a little historical trivia that surrounds this site, which will be the site next week of the first round of the NCAA tournament. And everyone's figuring Duke will be seated first here in this area.
Need to come up with something this time down.
30-25, Georgia Tech trailing Duke.
Henderson, you pushed him that time with the elbow in the second turn.
David Henderson with a foul, his second.
As the All-American built up momentum, he got Henderson back on his heels. Once you got a defensive man on his heels, forget it. It's curtains.
That's the 7th team foul on Duke, so Price at the line. This young man, if he didn't want to pursue his basketball career, they say he's got a professional singing voice.
He's much quicker than people think.
Singing?
No, as an athlete.
Oh,
no. Oh, God. Yeah, that's the national anthem in 8.5 seconds.
That's quick.
That's like the last mass of the summer resort. That's quick.
Yeah, he sang at the World's Fair in New Orleans. Sings in the church choir.
Pressure
Kelly
up court.
Gets 2 for Tech, and it's a 3-point Duke lead.
It's broke.
And traveling on Dawkins.
Dawkins had a little indecision, wanted to kick the ball over to the right, and he just moved his pivot foot right there. Good call. Double stack down low. Georgia Tech looking to kick the ball in.
Sally, 14-footer not there. Dawkins.
Numbers are all Duke here,
including the 2 by Dawkins. He has 8. All-American against All-America. Mark Price of Tech, guarded by Johnny Dawkins of Duke.
Duke playing a tenacious man-to-man defense.
Dwayne Farrell leans one home, and the foul is on Duke. Billy King.
We'll take a look at this one through the glass.
Basket is good by Dwayne Farrell. He'll shoot one.
One shot, fellas. Now, as he gets up high, it seems that it comes underneath him a little bit. Again, these are all hairline calls. You got 3 of the best referees in the country on this game.
Yeah, during the tournament watching, Coach, I think the officials basically have given the edge to the shooter, and the flop-down foul is being ignored. It has to be a real charge before they go against the shooter.
All sports, the offense gets the edge. Otherwise, you'd have no sport.
Mallory blocked by Sally. Sally's block sets up Dalrymple.
That's a very difficult shot for Dalrymple to make. Dick, how come you didn't react when I just told you that all sports are governed by the offense, not the defense?
Well, I've always felt that when you get down to the championship game, it's the better defensive team that wins.
Defense runs dynasties, but sports are run by offense, not defense.
Mallory. Berry with another rebound. He's been tough on the board.
Oh! Tricky freshman. Oh, my! With a Brooklyn accent.
6 points for Ferry with a banker off the jump hook, and Duke is back in front by 2 as time runs out in this first half in Greensboro. Lots of push and shove underneath. Hammond, Henderson with a rebound over Dalrymple.
I'd get Sally out of there, Coach, or go to his zone. He has those 2. You don't want him to pick up the 3rd.
They're laying off Billy King. This goes inside to Henderson over Dalrymple. Mark Price brings Tech into the forecourt. A chance for the tie. Rebound Allery. End-to-end action.
Over to King. Nope.
Rebound Sally. They overlooked that collision.
Looked like a plane in the playground, 125th Street in Harlem, the Rucker tournament. Up and down.
50 seconds left in the half.
Remember the second half, Georgia Tech will tire.
And remember at halftime, the official announcement, John Wooden will reveal who has won the Player of the Year award.
The great coach John Wooden.
Dwayne Farrell ties it at 34, 9 for him.
Now we'll play for one shot. Coach K will want him to get him the lead. Georgia Tech will go to his own. The shot will be taken from the outside with 6 seconds to go.
Who's going to take it?
Who's going to take the shot? They'll overplay. They don't get that strong an outside shooter. I look surprisingly for Ferry to take it from the outside. Let's see what happens.
Can I have a guess?
No.
Amaker.
He took it too soon. He did a no-no. That's a mortal sin.
That's because he listened to me instead of you.
A grievous offense. Full consent of the will.
Amaker trying to go inside with it.
No. Should have waited for one shot. Psychological 2-point lead.
Duke pressing in the back court, 7 seconds left.
Could have made it a 4-point lead.
Oh, great steal. Billy King. And a foul is on the blocker. Again, it goes against the defensive player, Hammonds.
They're going to call it a 2-shot foul because he intentionally moved into him. Which reminds me of the Maryland game yesterday. Moves right in front of him, King gets the ball. Now watch Hammond moves in. Hammond moved in quite quickly because out of frustration of throwing the ball away.
A shooting foul, and at the line will be Billy King. And his shooting from that charity has been a Duke adventure through the course of this year. He's hitting 49%.
Well, he's a defensive specialist, more of a complimentary ball player. He wears number 55, surprisingly, because Albert King is his hero from Maryland.
Another
Lefty,
King, but not related.
Not related. So Lefty gave him a jersey once of Albert King, thinking the kid was going to come to Maryland. He ends up at Duke.
Hits that one cleanly.
Kept the jersey, obviously. And the number. They'll get one shot off. Has to be quick. Let it fly.
Price. Ooh. Boy, that was some effort. Falling down, twisting, hits the backboard. Tech fans wanted a foul, and so did Crimmins.
Bobby's saying he got hit. What are you doing?
They go to the locker room. Halftime. Duke 37, Georgia Tech 34. Back with a Wooden Award.
Can you guess which truck is...
Have the honor of revealing the John Wooden Award. Here are the finalists: Steve Alford of Indiana, Roy Tarpley of Michigan, Memphis State center William Bedford, Del Curry from Virginia Tech, Walter Berry, St. John's, Kansas sophomore Danny Manning. No particular order. Len Bias of Maryland, great year again. Brad Doherty, these players from the ACC, Johnny Dawkins of Duke, Mark Price of Georgia Tech, Kenny Walker of Kentucky, the John Wooden Award winner in a moment. 12-year span, his omnipotent Bruins won 10 NCAA titles, 7 in a row. Appropriately, the first Wooden Award went to one of his own players.
Well, it means a great deal to me in that I was the first recipient of the John Wooden Award, and it was a lot of suspense that year. I had some competition from Phil Ford and Bo Ellis, some other players who were playing extremely well, and I was kind of surprised when I did win it, but I was elated because, again, I was the first recipient, and it was named after a man who has meant so much to college basketball.
Following Marcus Johnson in 1978 was North Carolina's master of the four corners, Phil Ford. He beat Marquette's Butch Lee, a close ballot. In 1979, it was a two-man race again for the honor, and once again Lee was edged out, this time by a big blonde from Indiana State, Larry Bird. Following the Sycamores' answer to Big Bird were Louisville's Darrell Griffith and BYU's Danny Ainge, honored as best in the nation. The only two-time winner of the Wooden, Virginia's Ralph Sampson.
Congratulations, Ralph, and good luck from here on.
Thank you, Coach. And I would like to say thanks to you and all you have done in basketball, and hopefully I can live up to what you've done and continue my success. And I really appreciate this type of award from a person like you.
In 1984, North Carolina's Michael Jordan, his aerial show captured the bulk of the nation's 1,000 voters. And last year, in an upset, St. John's sharpshooting Chris Mullen over Patrick Ewing of Georgetown, the 9th winner of the Wooden Award. And so from Greensboro today, number 10. Hard to believe, Coach Wooden, that it's been 11 years since you retired in 1975 with that emotional, dramatic win down in San Diego, your 10th championship.
Time does slip by, but things go on, and isn't this a great tournament here?
Oh, you enjoyed it yesterday and today as well, I'm certain.
Very, very much, Dick.
All right, time for the climax of our NBC basketball year, the John Wooden Award. Duke Llewellyn representing the LA Athletic Club with this handsome trophy. A replica that goes to, of course, the winner each year. And here we have the tabulation. 1,000 sports writers and sportscasters who cover college basketball have the vote. And Coach Wooden, will you please do the honors of announcing the 1986 winner?
I surely will, Dick. And the Los Angeles Athletic Club is pleased to announce the result of the audited report from the independent accounting firm of Coopers and Lybrand, according to the votes cast by sportscasters and sports writers throughout the United States, that the winner of the 1986 John R. Wooden Award for the Outstanding Collegiate Basketball Player is Walter Berry from St. John's University.
Walter Berry. So back-to-back wins for the St. John's Redmen. Berry has led St. John's to an incredible year. Many picked them outside the 15. You can hear some of the reaction of the partisan fans here of the ACC. Coach, I think it would be appropriate to look at the Final Five, the official voting, and indeed the Atlantic Coast Conference talent here almost was its own worst enemy. They may have eaten each other.
By all means, I think that's probably what happened. There were so many good ones in the ACC that they divided the votes a little bit somewhat. But that's not to take anything away from Walter Berry, who had a great year and is a great ball player. And I'm particularly pleased and want to congratulate Walter, the fact that he's announced, and I certainly hope he goes through with it, that he will be back in college for his last year.
I know you even wanted to make that one of the conditions of your Wooden Award, that it would be a senior. You wanted to make sure that these fine athletes graduated as well, and that has been the case for all of the past Wooden Award winners.
I'm very proud of that, and that's the reason for being in school, and I'd like to keep it that way, and I think the voters are taking that into consideration somewhat. And there's only been one of the previous winners that has not received his degree, and that was Michael Jordan. And of course, he went pro after his sophomore year. But I understand, and this pleased me to read recently, that he's planning on going back to school and get his degree.
John Wooden still with a rolled-up program under his arm. They'll have an official banquet to honor Walter Berry of St. John's at the Los Angeles Athletic Club on the night of April 2nd. Thank you, Coach, for being with us, and congratulations, Walter Berry, St. John's Wooden Award winner, 1986. First half.
Excellent first half. I think you're going to see Georgia Tech starting to tire now. Georgia Tech doesn't have the physicalness of a Duke. And if you notice this year when Georgia Tech lost, a team like Illinois, which is my dark horse pick of the NCAA, a team like North Carolina, and so they get worn down quite easily. They cannot go to the bench like the other clubs. I look for the second half here for whoever gets the hot hand between Price and Dawkins.
You know, it is an incredible conference when you think about that. 3 of the top 5 vote getters for the Wooden Award are from the ACC. And when you consider that North Carolina this week was ranked 3rd in the nation, and we're seated 3rd in this tournament, it gives you an idea of how strong they are.
Well, I thought that North Carolina made a mistake, and it wasn't their fault. They had an 8-day vacation in the middle of the season, and I think Coach Smith gave about 3 or 4 days off. That's a no-no. In no possible way can you ever allow your team to stop their momentum as they're playing. And what happened, they originally were supposed to play Marquette on a Sunday. The circus was in town in Milwaukee, so they had to play the Sunday 2 weeks earlier. So that vacation, I think, took the momentum away from North Carolina.
But wait, it was the injuries that really crippled them at the end. Warren Martin, Steve Hale, Joe Wolf earlier in this tournament.
I know they have injuries. Injuries happen to all clubs. I am saying that the key to the breakdown in North Carolina, Dick, is that they broke for 8 or 9 days in the middle of the season. You can't do that in basketball. You're not dealing with men, you're dealing with young boys, I want to call them. And they must be kept under a harness from October 15th to the final on April 1st.
You mean more, it's the mental, emotional, and not the physical that hurts you in that layoff. You lose that edge.
If a team is mentally tired and drawn, you know what you do with them? You work them more. Believe it or not, Dick, that is a tip from the top. I only coached for a quarter of a century.
You are too much. And we'll be right back in Greensboro after these words from
of the ACC Championship is being brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, engineered like no other car in the world. by Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. It doesn't get any better than this. By Peerless Faucet, installs in no time, lasts a long time. And by Napa, all the right parts in all the right places. A major difference in the statistical chart. Georgia Tech shot better. Duke rebounded better. Turnovers, Duke +3 in that regard. Bench scoring, as you predicted, Al.
That's the big thing, the bench scoring. Georgia Tech is going to start with the ball the second half. Like to get out of the gate real fast and tighten up that three-point spread.
The individual leaders, Dwayne Pearl had 11. Tom Hammonds and Mark Price with 8. Dalrymple 4 in the first half. For Duke, it was Allery 9, 8 for Dawkins, 6 for Ferry off the bench, 5 for Henderson.
Only guy in foul trouble is Hammonds with 3. He went into him. Right, good call. That's a big foul.
The third of the game on Sally.
They cannot afford to lose Sally. They can lose Price easier than they can lose Sally. Now watch Sally jump in. Excellent call.
If he'd gone straight up, then he could have avoided that, but more and more the players driving toward the basket in midair. Duke's biggest lead first half was 6. Oh, what a rebound by Hammonds, and Billis over the top with a foul, his second.
You can disagree with any of our freshmen on the NBC team, but you cannot disagree with Hammonds. He is so clear an All-American freshman in college that it's almost beyond my comprehension that a young man can step in and be that good.
He's averaging 12 points a game. He's shooting over 61%. He's shooting 83% from the line, and he's second in rebounds to Sally with over 6 a game. He's just done it all.
Duke with a tight man-to-man.
Same 5s that started the game for each team. Price. Foul on Billis. It'll be his third. So the 2 centers now saddled with 3 early in the second half.
Duke was happy with that call, because otherwise it would have been a basket from the left-hand side.
1 minute gone. Duke leading 37-34. Georgia Tech's biggest margin in the first half was 4 points, and Duke led by 6 on one occasion, and closely contested. Oh, great play to Hammonds, and he travels. Terrific defense, stopped an outstanding pass.
These are 2 young coaches that aren't young anymore, I guess, but they're here to stay. They will become eventually the legends in basketball, Bobby Crimmins and Coach K.
They're both young. Both are just 38 years of age.
And they're not just going to be temporary flesh in the pan.
Johnny Dawkins, a rainbow for 10 points. And a 5-point Duke lead. Boy, in the old days, this game meant you got into the NCAA. Nothing else in this ACC. And this year, probably these 2 teams and 4 others will make it. Allery with a rebound.
Allery, a thinking man's ball player. Posting up, got Hammonds in tight with 3 fouls. I'd kick it into Allery, try to pick up his 4th. Good hustle by Price. Take it around to Allery. Let's see what Hammonds does.
Dalrymple running into the pick set up by Allery and actually hitting the shooter as well. I believe Lenny Wirtz indicated it's a 2-shot foul. Yes, that's the third on Dalrymple. So Bobby Crimmins has 3 starters saddled with 3 fouls.
He's saying they're stepping in and creating the charging calls. Not too much room for any more gray hair on the top of Bobby Crimmins' head.
Dawkins has given others a little gray during the course of his 4 years at Duke.
Do you think having 3 ACC ball players in the Final 5 of the Wooden Award split the votes?
Oh, I think there's no question. There's so much talent here that a lot of folks voted their #1 pick to 3 different players, all from this league. Dawkins, Bias, Doherty, even Price got some. I'm sure he finished 7th or 8th in the Valley. Biggest lead of the game. 7 points for Duke.
Good movement without the ball. Excellent defense on Duke. Should have got a 5 count there.
Out of bounds to Georgia Tech. Mike Krzyzewski, former head coach at Army, a captain at Army, a captain in the U.S. Army. Hammonds and Dalrymple fighting Henderson for the rebound.
And Duke gets it.
On the arrow. There's Krzyzewski, a product of Bobby Knight, played under Knight at Army.
He's one of the coaches I might pick as the coach of the year. There's a lot of good ones out there. Bobby Knight this year. Dick Versace from Bradley did an excellent job. Guy at Kentucky. Lute Olson.
Mark Allery gives Duke a 9-point bulge.
Probably good timeout. Excellent timeout.
Crimmins calls time with 3 minutes, 20 seconds gone in the second half. Instant play of Dawkins in his 4-year career at Duke. Look at those numbers. His average leading his team all 4 years. A range of 18-1 as a freshman, 19-4 the highest. And that's just like a coach can put in 18 or 19 points every game when Dawkins is on the floor. And he also collected 500 rebounds, 500 assists, over 2,000 points. He's just been a remarkable player.
Well, you know, Dick, that's what a champion is. A champion is a person that repeats year after year. No one ever believes you. Look at Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the greatest ball player in the world. Look at Coach Wooden, 10 out of 12 NCAA championships. Repeat over and over.
Georgia Tech, after that timeout, hungry for a hoop. They trail by 9 early in the second half. Good fake by Price. The Tech fans wanted a foul because one was called against Georgia Tech in a similar situation in the first half.
It's a little bit too early for the strength to start showing now, but it will show in about 8 or 9 minutes from now. Duke just has bigger bodies on that baseline and more meat on the bench than Georgia Tech has. So this is the problem with the Yellow Jackets.
Mark Allery is called for a foul at the offensive end, so Tech gets the ball anyway.
And another chance to get an important basket.
Duke has had a run going back into the late minutes of the first half of 9 straight points. Price forcing that one a bit.
Allery pushed Hammonds out that time.
That'll be 3 on Mark Allery. And in comes Danny Ferry for Duke.
You got yourself in this game here really a meat grinder in the paint. They're just banging and bumping. Watch the arm come and push Hammonds out of there. There it is. See Allery kind of shake him off.
Meanwhile, live action, Tom Hammonds. That sensational freshman picks up his 12th point. First points for Georgia Tech in the second half. It took them nearly 4.5 minutes. Alley-oop. Mark Price makes the defensive play. Look at him hustle into the offensive end. Another miss. He's missed 3 in a row.
Reminds me of Kenny Smith in the Tar Heels.
Billis with a rebound. Amaker on the dribble. Henderson blocked by Sally, but a foul against Farrell.
Mark Price this time defends the alley-oop backwards. See, he doesn't watch Dawkins, just watches the ball. And then when he goes down, if you'll notice, he'll sit on Dawkins for a second. Now Dawkins holds him. So Price can't get out of the gates, off the blocks.
Henderson looking for his 6th point of the game.
That Iron Duke team is out there. Hammonds played 18 minutes the first half. Burrell 16, Sally 18, Price 17, and Dalrymple 19 minutes.
Dalrymple. Tech a cold shooting hand the second half. Henderson setting up Dawkins. And the foul against Hammonds. That'll be his fourth. That's bad news for Bobby Cremens.
Dawkins really should have made this shot. He dropped his head the last second. I think Hammonds intimidated him. Watch Dawkins cheat on the break. He's cheating now. Then he's off to the races. There goes Secretariat. He didn't pick his head up fast enough.
Harry Coyle, our director, producer David Neal, right on target with that isolate on Dawkins. Noodles Neal, no relation to our producer, although some have called David Noodles, as I remember. Dawkins at the line. Show you what kind of talent we're talking about today. 3 players on the floor have had their numbers retired. Dawkins, 24, retired by Duke. Mark Price, John Selly, so honored at Georgia Tech.
Something that's so great about Dawkins, he can score off the dribble or the pass, which is quite rare in a ball play.
Good move by Price to score, as he gave a little hesitation on the dribble to Dawkins and beat him.
He must be listening to us. He says, hey, I'm an All-American too. Talk about me.
Dawkins answers, but it's short.
He's going again this time. He'll get to the middle. He should kick it off at the end. He does.
Sally over Ferry, and it's 45-40.
Sally's too quick for Ferry if he gets the ball down in the paint.
Ferry's pass, saved by Dillis.
Should have called a walk on that play. Can't go on the ground like that without walking. They're setting an offense 1-4 high, trying to set up a back door. There's the small clock. Oh, that's a charge. No basket.
First on Ferry.
Ferry was conscious of the clock. It was down below 5 seconds when he committed this charge. Puts his shoulder in. That's a no-no. Overreacting on Ferrell.
But he got the foul with 13 minutes and 25 seconds left. Georgia Tech on a charge. They're down by 5. For Duke.
Duke's going to pick up a little early. Just try to break the rhythm of Georgia Tech. Not looking to turn the ball over in this situation.
Bobby Cremens has used a third guard, Craig Neal, to substitute for Hammonds. So it's a fairly short lineup. Inside to the big man, Sally. Good spinning move around Allery. 45-42. That's 6 unanswered points for Tech.
Sally does his bets when he starts dealing in French pastry, showtime, Harlem Globetrotter type of stuff.
Anderson short. Dawkins there. Mark Price with a foul.
Watch Sally down the other end here. He does his so-called disco or mambo moves. He'll do a couple of little fake spins here. This one he's at his best. He drops the ball on the ground, spins again, gives a little 6-foot wiggle.
But for a 7-footer, the agility, quite obvious, the talent in the man, Sally, from Brooklyn, New York.
Well, he likes to play facing the basket. He doesn't like playing with his back to the basket.
Sally might have taken an elbow in the mouth or nose.
He's not leaving this game. Too big.
His nickname used to be Spider. When he entered as a freshman at Georgia Tech, he was 6'9" and 185. He's now 7 feet and 231. He's grown 3 inches, and he's gained some 45 pounds.
Very mobile for a 7-footer. Has good moves.
He wears contact lens, and apparently that is the difficulty.
He has about 60-some-odd block shots, doesn't he, Dick, already
Yes,
this year?
he's the all-time Georgia Tech record holder. He has 53 this year. But no man in Tech history has swatted so many away as John Sally. $55-39 on NBC today. Louisville. Boy, is that team, the Cardinal team of Denny Crum, they have come on with the season. And Kansas ahead of Iowa State at the half in the Big 8.
Called Denny Crum Mr. March.
And he doesn't back away from anyone during the regular season. He'll play all the tough ones, and he feels it really hones his team for the tournament.
He comes in March like a lamb and goes out like a tiger. Or a lion, is it?
It's a lion, I think.
Doesn't rhyme that way. One of those big animals.
46-42. Dawkins 1 out of 2 and has 14 in the game. 12.5 minutes left here in Greensboro for the ACC postseason title. John Sally with a ripper.
Finally starting to show the form that everyone thought he would show in his senior year. First half of his year was flat. The second half, he started to get on his afterburner. 2-3 zone.
Dawkins loses the ball to Neal, and Tech with a chance to tie. Oh, what a block. And hopefully Henderson is not injured. It appeared that he might have even jammed his hand against the underside of the backboard as he went up.
If he's injured more off the backboard than he is off the fall.
Oh, he's okay. Watch this one again. Look at the acrobatics in midair of these men. Dawkins just dropped it out of his own hand.
Neal kicks the ball up all the way over to Farrell. Farrell goes up. Here comes Henderson. Now they meet above the rim there on the backboard. That's what I thought where Henderson got hurt. I thought maybe he nipped his head or his elbow against the backboard.
And turned his ankle or knee as well as he came down, and maybe injured one of the photographers, someone in the press area seated there at the end of the court. And now the official's going to try to... Oh, it's one of our own.
It's one of our... That's John Russo from NBC. Anything for the company.
John.
John, can you hear us?
John took that one right in the mouth, apparently. You watch as Henderson comes down. And he's the one holding that microphone, and in trying to get all the sounds that you appreciate, he took Henderson's size 13 right in the mouth.
Yeah.
Hey, he'll be back. He gets a hand.
Tell us you're going to come back, John. It's only your second personal foul. Come on, that's it. You'll be back, Rocky.
I'd hate to be in an accident with you with me. You give no mercy. I mean,
no.
you got to rub a guy's back a little bit.
We're a team. We're a team. NBC.
46-45. Duke hangs on to a 1-point lead with 11:59 remaining. Amaker. Wide open is Neal.
And then comes Amaker. Oh!
Neal misses the jam.
Oh, he went to give us one of those high as an eagle. White snow in the wind. Instead of putting up the chippy, here he goes. Over the basket.
Hey, John got out of there just in time. He'd have been hit again.
Yeah, send John back with the mic.
Here comes Noodles again.
Price will go all the way.
Georgia Tech leads 47-46.
Could be time for a timeout.
11.5 minutes remain. 13 points now for Price.
Farrell. Here comes Price again. Is John back there yet?
Sally. 49-46.
They waited too long for that timeout.
11 minutes remain. Remember from this year was produced by Nate McMillan. In less than a minute, watch McMillan. 1 block on North Carolina. To the other end.
And now watch Carolina come back. Same sequence, and McMillan with another incredible block. Meanwhile, it's only NBC that is blocking the play at the other end here. Look at Neal as he comes in, and
another cameraman gets hit. We should pay the NBC guys combat pay for working under the basket. It should be golden time.
Meanwhile, Georgia Tech is on a 14-1 run. That's high tech for the Jackets, and they pulled in front by 3.
Got to attack this zone properly and hit from the outside.
Allery. Duke is just getting one shot a trip, and they're not making it.
Defensive Kings on Price now. Billy King should be able to shut down Price. He's tall.
Jay Billis has 4 fouls. So Tom Hammonds, Georgia Tech on the bench, and Billis, first Duke player with 4. At the line, John Sally.
Nobody can knock either of these two teams out of the Final Four. They got a good potential. I'm not saying they're going to make, but these are 2 potential Final Four teams.
Hey, we saw 2 teams yesterday. How about the University of Virginia? How would you like to play them in the opening round? Or Maryland?
Maryland, wow. Maryland's really come on late. Lefty got us. I think his team has slowed down a little bit, which has given them a better style of play.
Len Bias, great player. Sally misses the front end of 1-1. Georgia Tech by 3 with that clock ticking away toward the midpoint of the second half. Allery inside.
Sally hooked him. Sally hooked the waist of Allery.
And that'll be 4 on the center for Georgia Tech.
That's just what Bobby Crimmins did not want to happen. Watch Sally. He's out of shape. The ball comes in. He's out of position. There he hooks the waist of Allery. Good call.
Sally goes out, and Tom Hammonds is back in. He'll be playing with 4. Sally leaves with 11 points. Check that. Sally does have 11, and so does Allery, who hits his 12th. 49-47, Georgia Tech.
This type of game, you want the ball in the hands of the seniors.
We had a fine dinner last night with the commissioner of the ACC, Bob James, and his lovely wife, Connie, and he reminded us there are only 17 graduating seniors from the entire ACC, but 4 of them are the 4 great players for Duke and 2 great stars from Georgia Tech, 6 of the 17. Price. An ill-advised fall-away jumper from the corner.
Price put up a Hail Mary shot that time. Very poor selection.
The ball to Georgia Tech. All these coaches, when you talk to them before and after a game, they're all just at a whisper. They're so hoarse from shouting through the course of a basketball year.
Well, you got to shout, Dick, because it saves timeouts. You're giving instructions when they're down your end. I would let that go. Good.
Way off the mark, not only online but short. Offline but short. So Duke has a chance to take the lead.
Now remember, Hammond's got 4 fouls. Wherever he is, they should put the ball in. Billis should get the ball because Hammond has 4 fouls. Perry, give it to him.
Dawkins. And Duke is back on top, 50-49.
Very difficult shot. His body was going to the right of the court and had to shoot across his body.
16 for Dawkins to lead Duke. Mark Price, the All-American for Georgia Tech, has 13. Burrell.
Good defense that time by Allery. Made Farrell adjust his shot in midair. And on the way down, he shot it. It was really a poor shot, but he had no choice. He could call for walking otherwise.
9 minutes remain. Duke with a ball and a 1-point lead, 50-49.
Get the ball in the Billis. Let's see what Hammond does on that D.
Hammonds with the intercepted pass, goes right to Billis. Hammonds made a good play, but he was falling out of bounds, tried to flip it back.
A freshman mistake. As he grows, he'll take that ball out of bounds and let Duke have the ball out so the defense can set.
Billis with his first points of the game.
Momentum has shifted back again. They need a basket.
Hammonds traveled. Oh, no, the foul is called. Mike Krzyzewski thought it was a travel as well.
Here's the play in the other end now of the court. They kick the ball inside. It's an alley-oop pass. He cuts the ball. He intercepts it, but he throws it in. Billis is absolutely free.
At the line, Hammonds with a dozen in the game. How many players do you know would list as their favorite activity away from basketball when they're relaxing as tractor pulls, going to see tractor pulls? Hammonds is one. He could pull whatever they pulled himself.
Florida produces a lot of great ball players through the years.
And of course, more and more staying home. When the blacks from the South used to migrate to the Big Ten, now they're welcomed right there at home.
You don't hear the name, but his nickname, I thought, in high school was the Destroyer.
52-51. 8.5 minutes, and Billy King a little out of control. Ferry fouled on the rebound.
Ferry by Farrell. It sounds like an Italian sports car.
You thought Van Gogh was a sports car.
No, that's the guy that lost his ear or something like that.
Driving a sports car. Dwayne Farrell second. Ferry looking for his 7th point.
Good stand-up shooter. Should make these.
Dad played 10 years in the NBA with the Hawks, the Pistons, the Bullets. Shooting 62%. He's a better shooter than that. Right at his average. Misses both. Hammonds rebounds. Tech with a chance for the lead.
Usually good shooters in the prime time of the game hit better percentages because they concentrate more. Did not happen that time. Dalrymple's playing very physical inside.
Price is due. Oh, he has really been as cold as I've ever seen him. And yet Georgia Tech is only down by 1, and Price has been icy this second half.
I think Price might be getting tired and taking the long-range bombers. He hasn't bending his knees enough.
4 points the second half, but he's missed 6 or 7.
Mismatch on Dalrymple down low. No go, 33.
Farrell's 3rd foul. Henderson returns for Duke, as does Amaker. Ferry and Billis go out.
Well, Coach K has got the situation that he wanted. He got Georgia Tech in a foul problem, also got them relatively tired. Let's see if it works. Let's see if Georgia Tech can dig down deep and find that extra spark that they're going to need in the NCAA to end out with a shootout at OK Corral.
Right through the middle, Mark Allery's brother Christopher, biggest fan there in Arizona, has to please him as he watches and cheers for his idol, brother Mark. A deuce for Allery, and a timeout with 7 minutes. No, timeout. 7:32 remaining in the game. Duke 54-51. Sally comes back. Remember, he has 4 fouls, and so does Hammonds, and they're both in the game for Tech.
Either Bobby Crimmins will be a hero or a goat on this move right here. He couldn't let Sally sit much longer. They started to drop down again. They're down 3 points.
Would you let him sit longer?
I don't know Sally's play that much. I'd definitely go to a zone on the far end to protect Sally with the 4 fouls. The Allery cannot cover Sally either. He's in a foul situation.
Farrell got away with a charge. Hammonds hits the J, and it's 16 for him.
Let's see if they go to zone.
Less than 7 minutes left.
They are in a zone. They're in a 3-2 zone that will just probably after the first pass. Let's see. It's a 1-2-2. This is put in strictly to protect Sally so he won't pick up his 5th foul.
The zone bothered Duke a bit in the first half. Henderson inside to Billy King.
Surprisingly, against the zone, this time they got to go down low every time because Hammond and Sally both have 4 fouls. Hammond's no push. Craig, you got to take that shot if you get it.
Burrell rebounded by Henderson. Amaker eases the ball into the offensive end. 56-53. Duke with the lead and the ball. 6 minutes left.
Getting close to a chess game here. If Duke can move up 5 points, a tremendous advantage.
Henderson takes it to the iron.
I would call a timeout here now because this basket is so big. Good call by Bobby. Coming up.
Al McGuire, age 15, attacked the Duke student body. He brought them under control with a chair and whip, and he brought along his fabled and faithful companion Sabu with the peanuts, dragging the bag of peanuts.
Do people know how much you get paid to drag those peanuts?
You know, there is talk that you could ruin a guy's career if you hang around with him long enough. That you've endeared yourself to those kids, and in fact, you're going to go speak to them, I guess, next week or week from Monday.
Next Monday night, I'm speaking to the student
week from
body.
Monday. Was it St. Patrick's Day?
St. Patrick's Day. That's when everyone is Irish.
I would love to be there. I would guess they have something special waiting for you.
I hope it's a check.
Let's get back to the game. 58-53. Duke leads by 5. This is the official All-Atlantic Coast Conference team, and it could be an All-American team. Bias and Allery, Doherty of Carolina in the middle with Price and Dawkins in the backcourt. Well, you could take those 5 and play anyone.
Dick, what happened to our injured NBC man, John Russo?
Oh, we do have abrasion of the mouth, will return.
Did we clock him out? Is he still on the clock?
58-53, and Georgia Tech in a situation where they almost have to score as time starts ticking away.
But they'll start milking the clock if they don't. Duke will. Let's see what they set up. Looks like they're trying to kick it inside.
Price. Oh, what a tip by Farrell.
You know, I've said this many times. I'm going to say it one more time for the year. Coach Crimmins says Farrell is his best athlete.
That was definitely a move with a lot of talent written on it. Sally had Price wide open. Didn't see him.
Amico was afraid of taking the charge that time.
Boy, this game has really flowed back and forth. There have been runs by both teams. And suddenly it's Georgia Tech that's hot. Hammonds. Allery with a rebound.
Wow. Henderson was 3 down court, Dick. Allery says, no, let's wait. Set up. Bring out Dawkins, Super All-American, into action.
There's the time remaining in Greensboro. Allery. Henderson. Henderson again. He loses to Sally. 2-on-1. Now 2-on-3. Dalrymple. And it's a 1-point game. 58-57 Duke. 6 for Dalrymple. The 2 games yesterday were terrific in the drama detail. Henderson, how are they going to call it? It's good. And the foul is against Georgia Tech.
They got the
Dalrymple.
They're calling Dalrymple stepped in, but they're calling that the basket is also good. Dalrymple's asking if it's a foul on me. The guy says yes. There he stepped in. Good call. Looks to me like the shot was put up way after the foul, but that's hairline. This is all slowed down.
That's right. We have that advantage. And at the line, Henderson trying to convert a 3-point play. It was his 2 3-point plays back-to-back yesterday against Virginia. When Virginia was up by 2, only 3 minutes left, and Henderson 6 points in less than a minute. And Duke had a 4-point lead, went on to the win, 5 points over the Cavaliers.
Well, we stay in the odd number, which means no overtime.
60-57. Sally with an easy 2, 60-59. Just under 4 minutes remain.
Both teams are in the 1-1, and the arrow favors Duke.
Ooh, Dalrymple with a steal, but a foul, and he can't believe it. It's his fourth.
Quick hands. You could have caught his hand, Dalrymple. We don't know. That's all she wrote for Dalrymple, a hard competitor. A real, you use the word lunch pail, lumberjack, blue-collar worker. There's one of the best.
He'll be back next year.
He's out of Harlem, went to Vermont Prep School for 4 years. Watch him reach in. Ref was right on top of it, so he must have caught some flesh. Sometimes the referee goes by sound, and flesh makes that sound. Can you hear that, Dick?
What was that again, Coach?
Can you hear that sound? That's flesh. All right, this here is leather. They do go by it.
What am I going to do without you for the rest of the year? Tommy Amaker. Dalrymple. Oh, such a competitor. How tough it is to taste that fifth. Amaker's idol through high school was John Lucas, who starred at the University of Maryland, went to high school in Durham. Amaker's from Falls Church, Virginia, and he still converses with Lucas. They're close friends.
Well, he's a true point guard. He's a distributor. Everyone likes a distributor on the team, because if you're open, he's going to give you the ball.
Good 5-3 with plenty of time, 3:43. Price has been so cold, you've got to figure that he's going to get hot.
Well, they're switching on him. The big men are picking him up to force him to kick the ball off.
Neal open, but passing up the shot.
Neal, you've got to take that shot, Neal. That's
Price. 15, and Price does hit one up. Curious as to whether or not he hurries up another shot the next time Tech gets the ball.
Again, they're in the zone to protect Hammonds and to protect Sally with 4 fouls each.
Less than 3 minutes remain. Dawkins, Henderson. Foul on Henderson for charging. His third.
Good call that time by Forte, the referee.
No argument from Krzyzewski. Boy, these fellas are really orchestrators, aren't they? They're constant motion. I wonder who winds them up before game time.
Well, you coach because you love it, because you love young people.
Georgia Tech with a chance at the lead. There's Price. Yes, sir, he hurried it. Rebound, Billis.
Might come out of the zone for a little trap here. No, they're going to stay in the zone. Too soon to milk the clock, Duke. Just look for a good shot. You can drive inside. Neither one of those guys can foul.
Dawkins yelled short. It was. Rebound, Farrell. Another chance for Georgia Tech to move in front with 2:08 left.
Price, kick the ball off and come around and get it. Go to the baseline. Pass the ball. Come on, Neal. Come out of there, Neal. Now go around the baseline.
Farrell, and Georgia Tech leads 63-62. 16 for Farrell.
Now Dawkins, give Dawkins the ball against his zone. Drive against it, Dawkins, because they can't foul you.
All 5 starters for Georgia Tech in double figures. Maybe the best 5 on any team in the nation.
Drive it. There you are.
Dawkins!
Oh! Boy, what a shot! Unbelievable.
Dawkins hanging and looping up a tough 8-footer. He has 18.
Price going to do in-your-face basketball here. No, he passed it. But Price wants that ball. It's going to go up. Take him to town once, Price. Come on. Take him. Didn't kill your dribble.
Georgia Tech trailing by 1 as we approach the 1-minute mark. Neal with a drive. Craig Neal, the sophomore, and Georgia Tech with a 1-point lead.
Neal is so thin he has to move around in the shower to get wet. Back in the zone again.
Inside, Allery.
Beautiful head and shoulder fake. They can't foul him. I think a timeout might be called here, but the coaches don't do that the last decade. Oh, they did. All right.
So Georgia Tech apparently will go for the final shot. 35 seconds left. The game in the balance. Duke leading by 1.
They will not go for the final shot. They'll shoot early. Then if they miss, they'll foul intentionally. Here's the shot by Dawkins, Dick, out of sight.
What kind of athletic talent to be able to do that? 1-point game, 35 seconds left.
It is an automotive advance whose time has come.
He was tied with Maryland. Maryland had the ball. And Dwayne Farrell made the steal and the winning jam at the other end. You say he won't run it down for a final shot. He'll try to take a good shot early.
All right, let me first tell you this. First of all, the arrow favors Duke in the tie-up. What I think Georgia Tech will do is look for a shot after about 10 seconds. Watch for Duke to come out with a Mickey Mouse defense, maybe a box one on Price to keep the ball out of Price's hands. So let's isolate a camera on Mr. Price. Georgia Tech has no timeouts left. Duke has 3.
Well, the price has not been right for Georgia Tech today in the second half. He's made only 3 field goals in all those attempts. Maybe he saved the best for last. There he is.
Now let's see if they put a man on Price to keep the ball out of his hands.
35 seconds remain. No shot clock. Couldn't ask for any better to come down to the championship game. Price goes to the baseline as Neal outside.
Got to go off one more pick, Price, to get rid of Dawkins. Now,
they're going to go for the last shot, Coach.
They couldn't get the shot off. He's going to go all the way. Up it goes by Neal.
Rebound, Dawkins rebounds. 7 seconds left.
It's a 1-on-1 foul situation. They wanted to get the shot off earlier. They couldn't get the ball to Price.
Dawkins defense. Price not willing to take the shot there. Fed it off to Neal, who was short on his jumper.
Dawkins' defense is outstanding. I can remember the Notre Dame game where he blocked Rivers' shot at the end of the game to protect a 1-point victory.
Actually, had that ball been just a little shorter, you saw Farrell with those eager hands. It would have been an easy 2 for Tech.
They don't ice Johnny Dawkins because Georgia Tech has no timeouts left. I would call timeout now. If I was, no, he's not going to call it.
Can't. He doesn't have one.
No, I'm not talking Georgia Tech. I was going to take Duke to call a timeout just to set up that, hey, if he makes it no 3-point play, let him score. But these guys are seniors. They pretty much know what they're doing.
Dawkins hits them both. 20 points for the All-American Johnny Dawkins. Price hits at the buzzer. Duke, #1 in the nation. They started the year 16 wins in a row. They finished the year 16 in a row as they go into the NCAA as the top team in the country. We want to wish all the great teams that have provided us with outstanding action throughout the year well in the upcoming tournament. And our colleagues at CBS, we hope you have another sensational tournament.
And we'll see you in Dallas.
Duke University, the Blue Devils from Durham, North Carolina, led by All-America Johnny Dawkins, have defeated Georgia Tech 68-67. For Al McGuire, this is Dick Enberg in Greensboro, North Carolina. Thank you for being with us through the course of the year. We've enjoyed trucks.